haven't seen the movie yet. I was hoping to see the screening tonight. How did this come to be? How did you guys get around to making this?
Well, my boss sat me in a room and said, we have Adam West interested in doing a Batman movie. That's all I need to hear. So I don't know how they came about doing it, but that's how I got involved. They asked me.
Were you aware?
They knew if they had given it to anyone else, I would have hurt somebody.
Were you aware of the comics, the Batman 66 comics that have been out lately?
Sure. Yeah. That really didn't influence what we were doing at all. And by the time we actually started making it, they had discontinued the comics. So, I mean, I read a few of them, but I am familiar with the old comic books that spawned the show, and of course, watched the show religiously. So, how about it this way? I didn't need the comics to influence me. I thoroughly knew that background on that show.
Does this open the door for any other sort of adaptations of other versions of Batman? Like I saw a comic book artist had done a pitch for a comic series on Batman '89.
Yeah.
I mean, if it sells well, it opens the door for a lot of stuff. I mean, the reason we have the Fathom event is because Killing Joke did well. So, I mean, success breeds success. So, if this does well, I'm sure they'll want to explore more avenues with this. So,
Working on Batman Brave and the Bold, I mean, you already had I say expertise in sort of like a
that's
different,
a good word.
A different sort of Batman. So,
mileage.
Yeah, mileage. Yeah, so taking that into consideration, I mean, it feels like you were really prepared. But what did you want out of this movie?
What I want? Well, to sit in the room with Adam West again.
Yeah.
For one. Have him call me old chum. No. What I thought originally was that I didn't want to mimic the show. I wanted to homage the show. I wanted to use elements from the comics that inspired the show, but that didn't necessarily make it into the show because of budgets and all that.
Right.
And the other thing was that, lore has it that the series would have got a fourth season on another channel, but the sets had been destroyed. And so I was thinking, what if this was the unofficial season? Or what if this was that, the same actors, but what happens if you had to start from scratch? Like if you had to build a new Batcave, if you had to build, things were destroyed, so therefore we had to recreate them. And so that's kind of the conceit I had. So it's similar, but different than the show.
Do you feel like you got everything that you wanted out of it?
It's all a blur. I'll know in a month when it's come out, and it's all pretty new and fresh, and I haven't had a moment to stop and think about it really. It's like, a lot. It's just more popular. More people have been interested in this than probably anything I've done. So it's kind of taken me aback.
Yeah, because you have a big cast lineup for this movie too. I mean, you have Burt, Adam, and Julie coming back, but you guys have like some really top. Yeah, names.
Thomas Lennon, Steven Weber, actors who Steven Weber is voicing Alfred, and it's like, wait a minute, he's a big name and he's going to do the Butler role, but he campaigned to do it. He wanted to do it. There were people who wanted to be a part of this simply because of what it was, and so, that was exciting. That people came into it already wanting to do it. There was no convincing, or you didn't have to pitch them to say, why is this good, or why should you want to do this? They came in knowing they wanted to do it. So that was nice.
Do you have ideas for if you did a sequel or if you did a follow-up? Or
yeah, I have ideas. I can't talk about them, but I'll get in trouble. So.
Who is Thomas Lennon in the movie?
Thomas Lennon is Chief O'Hara.
That's
what I mean. It's like Thomas Lennon He's playing Chief O'Hara.
Was he campaigning, or were you like a fan of the state and everything like that?
I don't know exactly. Wes Gleason was the voice director, and so all I knew is one day Thomas Lennon shows up doing Chief O'Hara. I'm like, oh my God, he's a pretty big name. And I think it's funny that he was on Reno 911 playing a cop, and now he's playing Chief O'Hara. So
yeah,
I think that's pretty good.
If you did a sequel and you had Two-Face in it, would you try to get Clint Eastwood?
I'm sure I could try. I don't know. He's talking to chairs still, so I don't know.
So I mean, you
kid.
But not really. You talk about how you felt like this. You wanted to continue the unofficial season. Did you have any like scripts or any sort of production notes to help you get along, especially just?
No, I mean, again, me being a fan of the show, but also of the comics that influenced them, I realized all the things that were in the series were already in the comics before that. A lot of fans don't want to admit that the comics spawned the show, and that the show was literally just doing what was in the comics. They didn't contextualize it like they did. They just literally lifted it from the comic and made it as big and gaudy and as, over the top as what was in the comic. They didn't try to make it transfer to television by making it more serious. They just literally, they adapted stories. So we just basically looked at the comics. Kind of the same thing we did with Brave and the Bold. So that's kind of how I went at it. And, I love the comics. I'm well versed in the show, so I kind of had it in my head on tape. Mentally, it's been hardwired into me. So I knew I knew what felt right. Where to go with the comics, where to homage the show, where to use things from both worlds. So.
I haven't seen the movie yet. Does it open with the same opening credits as the show, or is it different?
No, the movie is its own animal. It's very different. It's a movie, so that had certain requirements that make it different than a TV show would. So structurally, it's very different.
Since it was animated, I didn't know if you would have been tempted to do the opening credits live action.
We didn't have that kind of budget, so that's a good idea, though.
Do you have a...
Did you feel a pressure working on a project with a character as well known as Batman to achieve certain goals or keep the characters a certain way?
I mean, again, it was in my head. I know that Batman is the version I first was introduced. So, like I said, it's been hardwired into me to think that's the proper Batman. Any other Batman is the one I have to make adjustments and wrap my mind around. So, to me, Adam West was the first Batman I saw, so his voice is in my head. I mean, Diedrich Bader's voice is also in my head now.
Hard not to.
Right,
yeah.
But I mean, again, so writing the script, I knew how he should sound. I mean, so the only pressure was to make sure it was genuinely funny, meaning honor the Batman's world, but also honor the fact that this Batman comes from a different angle, and not be scared to pull it back because you're not being afraid of fans who might reject it, because for years you couldn't even say Adam West Batman in a room full of fans without getting mobbed, but stoned. I think a lot of fans loved that version of Batman in their heart, but they just knew it wasn't the correct thing to say in mixed company. So
I think after the Burton Batman, essentially everyone was just sort of like, burn it all, let's start this now, right again. And so after that came into, sort of in vogue, and then Schumacher did that whole 180 and basically it reverted back to the camp style, and then people were burnt out on that.
Yeah. But although, I mean, no slam against him, but that was, to me...
He slams himself. So
yeah.
It was someone who didn't really understand the Adam West Batman trying to do their version of it. And so it became a mockery of something that was already a satire.
It became a self-parody.
Yeah, and that's not satisfying. I mean, you have to believe in the thing you're doing. You have to you have to know what you're tweaking. And you know, it seemed like that came from a person who didn't really watch the show, but he had heard about what the show was like, and so the camp didn't work. I mean, you know, the thing with camp is it has to work on a level where smart people get it, but the average or the undereducated don't get it. So, you know, the idea is it has to be witty. It can't just be stupid. So,
Right.
you know, you have to be sly with it, and you know, there wasn't slyness involved in those movies. So.
No.
But you know, they have their fans too. I mean, the thing about Batman is the first version you see of the character is the version you're gonna love. So he's that kind of character. So
Right.
he really is. I don't know why any of us make a living doing it, because it doesn't really matter. Because Batman he just trumps everything. No pun intended with Trump, but anyway. I'm digging myself in deeper.
You got this.
Do you have a question?
Anything?
One thing? Okay, well, I have one or two more things, and if anyone else, like, because I you know, I want to keep, I don't mean to circle back to Batman Brave and the Bold, but I mean, that was,
It's fine.
it's fine, because I work for Newsarama, but that was like my beat, like, review the episodes, and basically, like, the deep cuts that, I mean, you had Animal, Vegetable, Mineral Man in one episode, so,
Yeah.
I mean, you did some really deep cuts on that show, so
Yeah.
going back into, you know, the camp of what the 66 brought, how did you want to, I guess, approach that? Because Batman Brave and the Bold is a completely different animal from what they were still doing. It's still camp, but it's still self-aware in its own way, where I think the camp of the 66 show, Batman's the straight man in this really bizarre world.
Right.
And he's playing everything straight.
Yes.
So how did you, I guess, try to process that?
I think the difference, like you said, in Brave and the Bold, Batman was the straight guy. He was the host, and everyone that came in, he was the touch man, so that all the people who didn't know who these characters were, they looked to him to decide how they felt about these characters. All right, and then whereas, you know, Batman Adam West's version, he is part of the madness. He is the ringmaster of the madness. He is part of the craziness. Not that he's goofy or anything, but he's just as surreal as everyone else is in his world. And I think there's a slight difference there. I mean, that provides more overt comedy potential, whereas with Brave and the Bold, we could do a straight episode. We could do a lot of different types of episodes, because Batman was the same no matter what circumstance we put him in.
Right. Yeah.
And that was the joy of that show. I mean, we were definitely channeling Adam West in it, but I always say that Diedrich Bader was kind of like, you know, Kevin Conroy and Adam West's love child. Like, there were elements of both Batman in his Batman. So, I don't know, that's how we did it. I'm getting the wrap up, so. All right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.